we're doing a panel on diversity inclusion. You are all brand founders. You ladies are the type of women I want my 14-year-old daughter to look up to. You know, these are the women that are changing the world, and they're doing it through the language of beauty, and I love that. So let's start with Tamara. As a beauty entrepreneur, we know you have your finger on the pulse of beauty standards and ideals. How have you seen them evolve over the last decade, and how has this influenced you in the creation of Manifest Beauty?
So I'm so happy that I started my brand when I did, because 10 years ago, when I was a lot younger and was still experimenting with makeup, I very much was in the whole, Instagram era. And Instagram 10 years ago was very much about perfection. And it was about having the perfect aesthetic, the perfect body, the perfect life, the perfect situation. And then it was like, if your life wasn't like that, you felt less than.
Right.
What I love about today, in the TikTok era, believe it or not, is that actually the thing that people are connecting to is authenticity. And I think that that's a big part of inclusion. I think that people, especially after the pandemic, mental health, compassion, being able to be authentic, talk about how we really feel, share beauty, share also our problems, share our tips, and just be really authentic about what we're going through as women is the era that we're in. So for us, like, inclusion is a really big factor in all of our products. We just aim to create products that make women feel like the best versions of themselves, not to look like somebody else. So also we're very conscious in shade matching, in bringing out any new SKUs, that we try everything on all kinds of women, different ages, different skin tones. And I believe that our whole collection can be used for anyone.
That's wonderful. I can't wait to try it out.
Thank you.
And Aleena, these days we hear the word inclusivity all the time, to the point where it's becoming a buzzword. So how can brands authentically approach their business with inclusivity rather than using it just to tick a box? And tell us about CTZN's approach.
I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with cancel culture and the way that, especially in the West, like, there's been a lot of shift in retail because of everyone waking up to the importance of inclusivity only recently in the past couple of years. And I think because of cancel culture, people are almost operating out of fear rather than an authentic reason to actually be representative within their shade range, their imagery, and beyond. That's only surface level, but for us, we take it really seriously. We were born with inclusivity. From day one, 4 years ago, our campaign was different ethnicities, genders, sexualities, ages. It's something that was a core value for us. One way that I believe authenticity is sort of the main approach is you have to ask the community that you're making the product for what they want and what they're looking for. I think this sounds really simple, but it's sadly not. When you try on a product, even if a brand has 50 foundation shades, why is it still that you try on a color and it looks ashy on your skin or it's still not matching? It's because people are doing it for the number, for that tick, for that box. But if you actually had focus groups and surveys and asked people of that skin tone, hey, is this right? Is this what you're looking for? Is this matching the needs of your foundation? You wouldn't kind of get to these issues. So I think we start every product development process with surveys and focus groups. We always ask, let's say it's a nude lipstick, what's your favorite nude lipstick, but what would you change about it to make it better? And like, let's start with what your favorite already is. And so I think we're constantly co-creating with our community, asking them what they want. Another thing I would say is whether it's the team in your brand or advisory board members, try to have a diverse group of people that you get opinions from. So I think this also prevents cancel culture. We have all the way from like a man in his 80s who's South African all the way to a Gen Z intern from Jordan. And I think that's how you look at things from so many different lenses. rather than seeing everything from one opinion. If it was just me and my sisters making every decision, we're going to think everything's okay because we're one perspective. But if I'm going to ask people from completely different backgrounds, it's a much more authentic way of making sure that what we're doing actually is safe and foolproof. And obviously you can make an intentional error, but that's an authentic way of checking everything that you're doing. And lastly, I would say we believe in passing the mic. So don't just think you're the authority and that's it. Your audience can be an authority too. We think about teacher versus student, and at CTZN, we're confident playing the role of student as well as teacher. So if it's a moment that our community can teach us about, let's say it's Black History Month, I'm not a part of that community, but I want to learn about what as a beauty brand I should do that month, and I'm going to pass the mic to the Black community and I'm going to have them teach us and enlighten us on what they would like to see from us that month. So I think that's an example of authenticity, is when you're actually there to learn.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. And it's amazing that this wasn't how it should have been from the get-go. It's kind of bizarre that we had to get to this point.
Absolutely.
But I'm really glad to see that you have addressed it and you're really taking this forward. And
Thank you.
It's beautiful to see you doing that with the CTZN. Ione, hi over there. How does diversity fuel creativity in the beauty industry?
We at Rucker Roots obviously are African-American women, but like she said, we have so many different people because diversity encourages inclusivity. So we have, like she was saying, one of our aunts is an 80-year-old Caucasian lady, and she sampled our products because most people don't have straight hair. Most people have curly or coily or thick or different types of hair textures. So, we just really include everybody into our sampling. And
I actually have curly hair myself.
I mean, most people don't know that, but we've done so much research, and most people in the world don't have straight hair.
Yeah.
So, in Rucker Roots, we always say it's for all hair textures and types, and we really believe that. Mm-hmm. And in our formulations, in our products, it's just we develop products for type 4C hair all the way down to type 3A hair. So we try to be as inclusive as possible with our formulations.
Well, I'm going to have to try out Rucker Roots.
Yes,
for
sure.
And Ellen, what are some of the challenges faced by the hair care industry in promoting inclusivity and representation?
I think that, you spoke on it a little bit about the fact that, with African-American brands, a lot of times we aren't represented, especially in the United States. I think we make up about 4 to 5% of the beauty industry from, just salespeople on the floor selling the products to founders and investors. And so I think that with just as an African American, looking at different brands and looking at the world, we really had to come to a social reckoning, a racial reckoning only a couple of years ago in order for us to have 15% pledge from retailers.
Wow.
Yes, in the States. Literally, we had to have protests, and we had to really, search for companies to partner with African American brands. Wow. And still to this day, we still have challenges. A lot of times we get one shelf in the back of the store instead of prominently displayed amongst the multi-brands and the multi-retailers. And honestly, so many investors and so many retailers think that because we are a Black brand that we are in a pigeonhole and that we cannot serve other ethnicities and other cultures. And like Ione was speaking on, a lot of people have different types and textures of hair, different curl patterns, and a lot of Black brands work very well on those types of hair. And so I think that, the challenges that we face are, funding for African American brands, because, a lot of investors feel like we are just for Black people.
Yeah.
And that's so unfair and so not true. Also, challenges just making sure that we have representation in retailers, representation, amongst, a crowd like this. So many small brands can't afford a booth space. And now there are grants and our establishments, put in place just recently that allow small companies like us to come to Dubai.
Yeah.
And so just different challenges, for smaller brands. But I like to see the change, but I realize that there's so much more that we need to do. And I'm glad that we're sitting on this panel to advocate for hair care companies, small African-American brands that are trying to establish their footprint in this large global industry.
There's still so much work to do.
The thing that I love about manifestation and why I feel so connected to it as a concept is that I think that it breaks so much generational trauma that comes from, our parents telling us what was our limitations when we were growing up. Like, I never forget, like, my mom every day was always like, money doesn't grow on trees. And then it's like, you have to work for 10 years to get somewhere, or you have to go on a dating app to meet the love of your life. There's all these have to things in society. And there was always this thing about there's a certain way to do things, there's a certain formula. Manifestation is all about limitless possibility. It's all about anything is possible if you can believe in it and align your behaviors to match your intentions, and to trust that things will work out in the right way and to flow. So from a brand perspective, our slogan is actually attract it all. Because I think that, sometimes being a businesswoman, it can be very easy to fall into like that more masculine energy because it's always about getting it done. But one thing that I've learned to embrace through my manifestation journey is you can be very grounded in your feminine energy and get what you want. That's our power as women. We're attractors.
Yes.
We're not meant to like just kind of go out there and claw for everything that we want. That's not how we were created to be. So I very much like believe that in my brand, and I encourage women to believe in that too. And don't get me wrong, I don't believe that it's that woo-woo concept of I'll just sit at home, write some affirmations, hold a crystal, and everything will come to me. No, I work very hard, but my point is that it's about trusting in the timing of your life, about not having a complete meltdown when things don't go your way, and trusting that things are meant to work out for you in a better way, or asking, what is the lesson that I can get here? So I'm very much about the law of attraction and the law of attraction in beauty.
Oh, that's beautiful. I always say that you write your manifestation, you put your intention out there, and then you meet the universe halfway.
Exactly. Because it's also about showing up as the right person to receive those things.
You have to be at the
you
right
attract who you are, not what you want.
Yeah, so, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, Aleena, how has CTZN merged its beauty products with today's culture of inclusivity and diversity? And I'd also like to know, where do you see this heading in the next 5 years?
So I think, like I mentioned, now everyone is waking up to the importance of diversity and inclusion. It's unfortunate that it took so long to get here, and there's still loads of progress to be made. We were just talking about it before this panel. So I think it should be a no-brainer that you're focusing on diversity if you're entering the beauty space. So that's not enough to say that that's a focus. It's not a unique selling point. It's what you should be doing already. So how do you go above and beyond? Don't stick to the surface. It's not just about a shade range number. It's not just about a campaign that looks like there's diversity. Like I said, it's engaging the community. It's getting feedback from your audience. But one way that we've done it that I also think that trends are going more towards is thinking outside of the box. So we feel that we're the first brand merging beauty and culture. What I mean by that is I'm not just talking about skin tone. I'm not just talking about race. I'm talking about cultural awareness. If you look at everything happening in the world, especially right now, a lack of understanding each other is why there's such division and it leads to such negativity in our world. If we understood our cultural nuances more, the world would be so different. So we invented a segment called Culturetorial. We actually trademarked this word. So it's essentially get ready with me while I teach you about my culture. So it's a 1-minute makeup tutorial where while someone does their citizen makeup, they're teaching you about their culture. It's bite-sized, it's fun, but if you learn even 2 or 3 little things about, let's say, Pakistani culture that you never knew before, that is exactly what I think will make a larger change. It's just understand your neighbor through a fun segment. And so this is something that we want to focus so much more on. It's hard thinking anything you're doing in the beauty industry is unique because everyone is doing everything, but this is something I can say that we're the first to do and that we're really excited about. So to answer your question, I think in the next few years, we want to focus a lot more on culture, and we encourage other brands to do so, of course, as well. And I think that will look like offline programming as well, offline community spaces, and online, of course. But I think everyone's craving a community, a sense of belonging. And if you can do that through a beauty platform, that's amazing, I think, so.
Where can we find the culture tutorials?
So they're on our Instagram and TikTok and our website at Citizen Cosmetics, CTZN. But yeah, definitely check it out. And
cool.
If anyone wants to do a culture tutorial, we love this segment so much. So reach out, DM us. This is open to everyone. We want to learn about your culture. And I even tell, like, some people in the States are like, oh, but like I'm just from the States. It's like, no, we've done like an East Coast culture tutorial, a West Coast. Even if it's your hometown, the whole point, there's no wrong culture. So reach out to us regardless of where you're from. We want to hear from you.
Great. And Ione, in what ways can the hair care industry challenge traditional beauty standards and redefine the concept of beauty to be more inclusive and empowering?
Education background major, and so we are really big in educating and having classes where beauty professionals and professional hairstylists teach other professional hairstylists about how to use our products, because education is always key. Hair has so many hair textures, and hair diversity is so important. And so by using education as well, and collaborations. We are really big into collaborating with other even hair companies, skin companies, makeup companies by pushing that for inclusivity forward as well.
And Ellen, what strategies has Rucker Roots used to break down barriers and increase accessibility to hair care products and services to marginalized communities?
I think I spoke on this a little bit before, but Ione and I come from a small town it's called Lancaster, South Carolina, and it's about a population of 100,000 people. And of that population, 33% of them live below the poverty line.
Wow.
So when you talk about marginal communities, we are doing the work in our community, in our local community of Lancaster, South Carolina. We have the Rucker Education Scholarship Fund because our parents, we're from a family of 8. Our parents educated us all the way through college. They really instilled for all of us to have a college education, and everybody cannot afford that, and everybody have not come from families that have instilled in that. And so we do a scholarship each year for a first year student that has matriculated through our grandfather was an educator, and so the middle school in our hometown is named after our grandfather. So it has matriculated through that school, and that's a graduating student. We send them to college.
Wow.
Yes. And so that's one way that we give back in our own local community. But we also partner with different organizations around the country that do, we provide free products. We do classes that teach elementary school kids and middle school kids how to have good hygiene, because some of the places that we have visited, that's important, and that's lacking in some of the households, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so those are the ways that we give back to our community.
That's incredible. I love that you have a scholarship. That's amazing. Aleena, why did you decide for CTZN to develop a line of nude lipsticks as its first product, and how does it tie into the theme of diversity and inclusivity? And please mention the names and how you chose the names of the products, because I think it's so cool.
I love that you know about that. Thank you. So we felt that everyone was focusing on foundations and concealers already in the beauty industry, and we don't want to just promote more consumption for the sake of it. So we knew that representation was at our core, but we wanted to give the beauty and the community something different that they hadn't seen before. And this was the age of the lip kit. It was around 2017 where we were developing our brand. So we knew we wanted to do lip. We knew we wanted to be diverse. So nude lipstick came to mind because it's so correlated to not just your skin tone, but your undertone and your lip tone. Lip tone is something that we feel like a lot of brands are not focusing on, but it's so key when you're matching someone to a lipstick shade, especially a nude. And also just from our personal experience, like I said, putting foundation on our lips first and then putting a lipstick, because the pigment was never strong enough for my sisters and I. And speaking to so many people who could relate, but especially the nude lip horror stories, beige on me, you can imagine, is not my nude. So how do you make everyone feel like there is a nude lip shade for them, and everyone deserves to feel that there's a match for them? So we did research, we searched on YouTube, we went to department stores, and we came up with a range of 25 nude lip shades. And I'm really proud to say that we've been on Beyonce, Demi Lovato, Hilary Duff, Lizzo, to say more. It's been insane. So I really think that it's a testament to our shade range, because we really care. We really have asked people what they're looking for, and we also have a quiz online for you to find your perfect nude. It's called the Nude Match Quiz. Because another thing about having a big shade range is, okay, now you have the options, but how do I pick my shade? So I think we've really tried to think of every step of the funnel for our audience. And the city names are, like we said, we love merging culture and beauty in a really fun way. So our Nudiversal collection is all named after cities around the world that have inspired us. So, and not just mainstream cities like London and New York, we have those as well, but you'll also see cities like Fez, Sarajevo, Lahore. And it's funny because Lahore is a city in Pakistan, but a lot of people in the States thought that Lahore meant something else. So I think that cultural awareness is really important. And I'll just end it at that. But yeah, happy to bring some of these cities into the mainstream.
Well, I can't say much about that.
True story.
We're all Americans on this panel.
Someone who lives in America, I totally believe it.
Yes.
It really happens multiple times.
Tamara, can you tell us about Manifest Beauty's product development process, and how do you make sure your products can be used on everyone?
I believe that there is so much noise in this industry because as much as I'm a founder, I've been a consumer my entire life. So every time I'm in product development, I'm constantly trying to sit there as the consumer and not be the founder, because that's when you're going to really create something that either hasn't been done before or improve something. So our products have to be disruptive. with our lip plumping oil, we literally took all of the challenges in the space and turned it on its head. I found a very talented chemist that had already created a lip oil, and I said, oh my God, this is the most amazing texture I've ever seen. It was 100% clean. It's got a 10 out of 10 rating on Yuka, like it doesn't have any toxicity in it. And I felt like lip plumpers are such a great idea, but why do they all suck?
Yeah.
Like either they burn, you put them on and you find that, they're very uncomfortable to wear and you're scratching it off, or you wear it and it works, but it dries out your lips. Or you get other ones from very high-end brands that kind of just don't even work. So I was like, no, there has to be a way that this concept can work. So we started at the oil first and then infused the plumping into it and worked that way round.
Okay.
And that's why I feel like we really created a disruptive product. And also our product is multi-use. Mm-hmm. I think I'm very mindful in the inclusive space and being multi-use, because also, things in Dubai are booming, but if you look in the rest of the world right now, we're in war, we're in recession, this is the reality of it. And I just think that I want, our customers and women to feel like you can have like one hero product that does 4 things for you. Like our clear lip oil, you can use as a night serum to plump your lips and use it as part of your skincare routine. You can use it as a primer. You can use it as a topper. You can use it with a lip liner. So it just has so many uses. So that's something I take into account. So inclusion for me is also about the financial aspect and affordability, but at the same time giving people the highest quality ingredients. Another thing I want to touch on when I think about inclusion is women's health. I think that's, a big thing for me because actually my mother passed away from breast cancer. And I just know so many women dealing with so many health conditions, especially now in this world with all the stress going on with all these environmental factors. And, you can eat all the vegan food if you want in the world, but if, things also ingest into our skin, into our hair from all these products that we're using.
Yeah.
So all of our products are 100% clean and can be used on women even if they are suffering with health conditions, if they're pregnant. I'm just very, very, very mindful of that in our product development. So all of our products are super clean, but yet performance driven, because something that I think shifted in the clean space is that before it was like you kind of had to choose. Do I want a clean product or do I want a product that works? So for example, we're about to bring out our mascara. Lauren, it's been 7 revisions. I've been pulling my hair out trying to make this product work, but we've finally got there. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that I feel like it's got the most amazing performance, but it also has a growth factor in it, and it's 100% clean.
Wow.
So I just think as a founder, you really do have to be kind of a perfectionist, and that's the place where I'm hardest in my business. It's in the lab, because I'm like, unless this product is extraordinary, there's really no point bringing it to the market. I'm very conscious about doing that, and also that it's going to be able to work for any woman as well.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm sorry to hear about your mother.
Thank you.
Ione, how can the hair care industry better represent and cater to the needs of diverse hair types and textures? And what gap can Rucker Roots fill in the Middle East?
9 out of 10 Black women in America feel their overall health is their number 1 beauty accessory. So that's just really speaking volumes on how much overall health is really so important. In our world now, we really are looking for products for hair products, skin products, in our business, hair products that are healthy. The ingredient story in our products, Rucker Roots, is very intriguing to most people that are considering their health. We're 100% vegan. We have root vegetable oils, like Ellen said. That's our ingredient story on most of our products. And sulfate-free, paraben. We like to tell our ingredient story. Our health is so important for us. And another statistic that I wanted to throw out there is 1/3 of Brazilian women are considered natural. And that means they don't have any color or any hair treatments in their hair. So it's such a range of inclusivity and just overall health is really the theme of our brand and what we're trying to do. So I do want to touch on this because we have a 4-step smoothing system that works really great on all hair textures and types, and we formulated it for that purpose. And it consists of a shampoo, a conditioner, a heat protectant, and a growth serum. And it's our #1 selling product, and we formulated it for years, and we tested it on all different types and textures of hair because we really wanted it to work on all hair textures and types. And so we're really proud of our products and of our brand and for how clean and healthy the ingredient story is in our products.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic.
Thank
you. Tamara, how does partnering with influencers and content creators from different communities build trust and credibility with beauty brands?
So I think that influencers are now the new celebrity. I think that 10 years ago, it was very much about, if, I don't know, Scarlett Johansson is wearing this lipstick, I want to buy it. I don't think people think like that anymore. I think that, like what I was saying at the beginning, it's more about people that they feel they can connect to. And I think that the TikTok culture has really brought that to the forefront even more. We just started on a bunch of influencer paid collaborations, but we're being very, very mindful about who we choose, because at the end of the day, these people become your brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
So when we're choosing who we want to work with, I have a social media manager. She might send me a bunch of people and I'll be like, no, not that one. And she'll say, why? She has 500,000 followers. And I'll be like, yeah, but I don't feel the authenticity. I just feel everything is paid. And the thing is that the consumer is very savvy now.
Yeah.
I think that, we, and also as brands, we need to be honest with our customers. At the end of the day, I care very much about my customer. I want them to love our products. I want to always tell the truth about our products.
Yeah.
We don't airbrush anything. We use a lot of UCG, which has been amazing actually, because it's so fun to see how people will take your product. We have some guidelines, but bring it to life. So honestly, our most successful campaigns on social media have been UCG content that
Can you just let everyone know what UCG is?
Oh, sorry. User-generated content. So it's not officially a paid influencer partnership. It's actually just content creators that have barely any following, but you just send them products and then they make content in return. And it's just so interesting to see how they bring things to life.
Yeah.
And then we work with so many different types of women with that. It's so much fun. And the thing I love about that type of influencer marketing is that you don't have to have millions and millions of dollars in funding to be able to do those campaigns.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's just about we send maybe 10, 20 products a week just to these content creators, and they just make content for us. And sometimes we just stumble on like a really winning piece of content and then run that as an ad. Sometimes that's been better for us than those big paid campaigns.
Right.
But I think that now it's actually absolutely essential. Like, out of everything in my whole marketing funnel, what I've learned is that there's two things, well, at least for our brand, that have actually worked. And believe me, we've tried everything. The first has definitely been influencer and user-generated content marketing on Instagram and TikTok. And then the second thing is just getting in front of customers. Mm-hmm. Like, I love doing pop-ups. I love being in trade shows because, like you were saying earlier, at the end of the day, you have to listen to your audience. That's how you can be great. When we first did the first version of our lip oil, I thought it was fabulous, but then we kept getting feedback from customers going, it's not really working that well. And I was like, okay, I need to, it's not about me, it's about them. So I actually increased the actives in the formula to make it more catered to what they want. So it's always about being in front of the customer, engaging with it. Actually, the customer needs to be a part of your brand and its development. And I think that's the only way forward.
Thank you. And our last question for this panel goes to Aleena. You have something very interesting, which is a Chief Culture Officer on your team. Can't even say it. Chief Culture Officer's role and tail. And why did you decide to have one?
So I have to first shout out our Chief Culture Officer is sitting right here. Lisa, if you could wave to everyone. So as I've mentioned, beauty meets culture, knowing that we're the first to champion this intersection, realizing that it's hard to find a white space in the beauty industry. We knew we needed to be louder about this and focus even more on this because it's a competitive industry. Everyone is really doing everything incredibly, but this is something that's unique to CTZN that we know that has so much potential because we deeply believe in the reason and purpose behind promoting cultural awareness. So we actually pivoted, Elisa, who's one of our co-founders, we actually pivoted her focus specifically to being a Chief Cultural Officer because throughout the year, there's so many cultural moments. Let's Hispanic Heritage Month, AAPI Month. Like, there's so much happening throughout the year that if we didn't have someone focusing on that, we'd miss so many opportunities to educate our community, to pass our mic to people that could teach us more about these moments, to engage brand new communities. For example, there's Cleft Awareness Month, and that's for a community that's affected by having a cleft lip. We never thought about that community, to be honest, because it wasn't on our radar. But ever since Elisa has taken on this role, we've been able to focus on brand new communities that we just were not aware of before, because inclusivity doesn't have an end date. There's so many ways we can be even more representative, and I'm excited to have a focus on that. So what it looks like is looking at the calendar, seeing what's coming up, outreach to creators, outreach to new communities, but also just seeing who else wants to do culture tutorials. It also looks like consumer advisory boards. How can we have a consistent group of people from different walks of life and backgrounds and continents that we constantly engage to get feedback, whether it's from our products, for our content, for our branding. So a cultural officer is definitely a new thing even for us. But we're so excited to have that focus, especially because culture is really unique to CTZN and something that we want to be even more focused on this year and onwards.
Well, thank you. And before we go to questions in the audience, I just want each lady to tell us how can we get in contact with you and your brand. So Tamara, we'll start with you.
So on Instagram and TikTok, we're at Manifest Beauty Official.
Okay.
And our website is manifest-beauty.com.
Thank you. Aleena?
So my personal is at Aleena NK, and our brand account is CTZN Cosmetics. That's spelled CTZN Cosmetics on TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, all the things. YouTube, you name it.
So my personal is Ellen Rucker Sellers on Instagram and Facebook. And our business handle is Rucker, Rucker, Roots, Roots, on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok. And actually on Facebook is Rucker Roots Products. So.
Okay, great. And Ione?
So Ellen told about the business, but my personal is Ione _Rucker _Jamison.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.